I'm Paolo Abrera, TV host, anchor, and this is my life at home. Let's talk about the pandemic. I think the pandemic has changed life for all of us in a very profound sort of way. For many of us, I think we've come to the realization that working from home, hybrid working, partly from home, in the office, having limited access to the outside world, and basically just always sort of being very cautious and being on your guard. It's made us realize just how much of life we used to take for granted. And if there's one silver lining, and I know it's been said quite a few times, I've learned to just appreciate the little things and appreciate just how much of life there is out there to live and how much of it you can savor and enjoy. What is life like now on a daily basis? I think the world is topsy-turvy and upside down. We've managed to find some sort of equilibrium and carry on in this new normal, as it's always said. We've all learned to sort of manage, but the new normal isn't normal at all. We're still working a lot from home. There's school from home. There's some sort of hybrid work situation where maybe you do a little bit of work at home and maybe you do some of your work at your office in reduced numbers. We've all just sort of learned to find ways, but it hasn't been easy. The line, I think, between where the home starts and where the home ends and work begins, or where work ends and the home starts, it's been very blurred because a lot of it happens in your home. So you have to sort of establish borders and boundaries, clocking in, clocking out. Weather disturbance has been seen on the horizon, but Pag-asa says chances of rain may still occur in some parts of the country, especially in the Luzon area. What is a typical weekday like? Well, it's pretty routine. I am an anchor on a morning program, New Day, right here on CNN. And it's pretty routine. The day starts really early. I get up at about 4:15, make my way down to the studio, and we do our program. And we wrap by 7. But the weekends, now that I look forward to. Weekends are special, particularly Sunday. Sunday seems to slow down. It feels like there are a lot of hours in Sunday, particularly the first half of the day. And it's a day that I like to think of as my day. It's me day. It's a day that I get to do the things that I want to do. Even on a Sunday, I get up pretty early, not 4:15 early, but I'm usually up at around 6. I'm usually the only person up around the house. I like that time of that quiet time. I come downstairs, it's still a little bit dim. I make my way down out here to this spot. I sit, think about how I'm gonna spend the day. So how does the day start? Every day has to start with coffee. Usually start my day with a nice iced coffee, typically black. Depending on my mood, I might have something different, but it's usually a cold coffee. I come out here and sit in this area. I might do a little bit of reading. I flit from one book to another. Reading a little bit here. I might have a different book in the living room. I might have a different book in the bedroom. Read little bits and pieces of it. This is one that's handy around here. This is called 1,000 Places to See Before You Die. It sounds a little bit morbid, particularly given the situation or these days that we live in now. It's one of those things that reaffirms that there's so much more of the world to see, so much more that we have to look forward to. I think a lot of people know me from what I do as a TV host. I'm an environmentalist. I live an active lifestyle. I like to bike. I like to ride my motorcycles. Maybe one aspect that people don't know as much about me is the fact that I love to work with my hands. I'm a DIY kind of guy. I usually have a couple of different projects going at one time. Stools, spice racks, you name it. I've probably got a little project going on the side. This, ladies and gentlemen, is my workshop. It's a pretty small space. It's my little fortress of solitude. You got some grinding belts. You got some tools, C-clamps, fastening tools, vice grips, some woodworking tools over there. That's my welding machine, a few power tools, some automotive tools. This is where I go to get it all done. This is my little man cave. The whole DIY thing also was a big help during the height of the pandemic. I think we were all stuck at home. I busied myself with a lot of DIY. I think at the height of the pandemic, we all turned into plantitos and plantitas. My wife particularly, I did a little plant stand for her. I think that's the beauty of working with your hands, and DIYing is sort of setting your mind towards a goal and being able to create something. You see the results of your efforts, and I don't know, maybe that's what I like about it. You know, it's something that you can take a step back and think, hey, I did this, me, myself, with these hands. Exercise is such an important part of my routine. It's an important part of who I am. But taking care of yourself during this strange period that we live in is so important. One of the things that I've really sort of gotten back into heavily is cycling. I was an avid cyclist and triathlete for many years. It's just a great way to get outside, to be outdoors in an open environment, feel the air, and exercise in a safe way. Now, part of my usual Sunday routine is to head out on a bike ride. It's a great way to get your exercise in the outdoors in a relatively safe way. So I usually roll out with a small group or roll solo like I'm doing today. No specific plans, but today I feel like doing a little bit of bike exploration in the Manila area. So join me for the ride. I generally like to ride solo nowadays, which I think is perfect for the kind of world that we live in now. It's a great way to get out there and exercise, clear my mind, and at the same time sort of explore the city, particularly on a Sunday. On a Sunday morning, I like to ride through different parts of the city and see the city as it's just waking up. Seeing the city on two wheels, it's a great way to just sort of keep in touch with the vibe of the city that you live in. Exercise is just one part of the puzzle. I think it's a cycle. See what I did there? Cycling. No, but you need to get out there and you need to sort of exercise. You need to exert yourself. And then you need to come back in and replenish all that you've lost. And the first thing that you should be looking for are protein-rich foods. All right, now after a solid morning in the saddle, it's time to replenish what you lost from your efforts via a recovery meal. And for me, this is the ideal combo: French toast with a side of bacon. And I'm not just using any bacon. This is Pure Foods Deli beef bacon. This is the real deal, guys. This combination has that really nice interplay between the sweetness and softness of that French toast, along with that very salty, savory, very smoky sort of flavor that you get with the beef bacon, along with that super crispy texture. It's just absolute perfection. It's a protein-packed meal, so it's ideal for post-workout. And I gotta say, it's one of my favorite comfort foods on a Sunday morning. Here's how I make it. All right, I've got some old bread here. Use whatever you have. In this case, I've got some sourdough, which is a couple of days old. I've got a couple of eggs, some milk, salt, and like I said, of course, our Pure Foods Deli beef bacon. Now, I'm not too picky about the actual measurements here, so I'm gonna say use a little bit of milk. All right, that's going into the bowl. You can use an egg or two, really all up to you. I'm just going to be using one. I've only got 4 pieces of bread. Give that a little bit of a stir. Beat that well. You'll want a dash of salt in there as well. And really, that's all there is to it. You now want to soak your bread in this mixture. Obviously, if you've got old bread which is sort of harder, or if you're using a bread which has a thick crust on it, you want to soak that in this mixture for longer. Now, let that soak into the bread, get it nice and soft, particularly if your bread is hard. And this is now ready to go into a hot pan. Now, get your pan nice and hot. I like to use a little bit of butter in there. Plus, I add just a little bit of oil to make sure the butter doesn't burn. Get a nice coating of that. Now the butter will brown, and it'll give your French toast a nice sort of brown crust to it. So once that's nice and melted, your French toast, which has been soaking in your mixture, can go in there. All right, don't do too many pieces at a time. I've got a fairly large pan. I'm gonna put 1 and 2 pieces. I'll do 2 pieces at a time. Turn them over after a nice brown crust has sort of formed on the underside. And then we'll head back to our counter and check on our bacon. Now, while that French toast is frying, you want to quickly work with your bacon over here. Like I said, this is the Pure Foods Deli beef bacon. Free it from its packaging. Now you want to thaw this out completely before use. Have a look at this. That is delicious. Look at that. Now you want to separate these pieces, make sure that it's thawed out, and place these in a screaming hot pan without any oil. All right, I've got my French toast going here, and I've got my beef bacon crisping up in this pan. This is going to be really good. And that is how I do my French toast with a side of bacon. In my opinion, the ideal post-exercise recovery meal. Perfect treat on a Sunday morning. The sweetness of that French toast with this crispy beef bacon. Got a nice smokiness, and you can cook it so it's nice and crispy. You got a nice interplay of sweet and salty, and trust me, with the smell of this bacon cooking, my family will be down in no time. And this is the kind of thing that I love to share with them on a Sunday morning. So that is a typical Sunday for me. It's only been half of Sunday and I've already done, a bunch of things, and there's still so much more of the day to look forward to. And I think it's important in this unusual time that we live in that you take care of yourself, take care of your physical well-being and your mental well-being. Don't get stuck and just keep moving forward with life at home.
This program is brought to you by